Welcome back to The Journey. On the last episode, we talked about middle school. In this episode, we'll be talking about high school. So I know you said that your sons were big guards in middle school. Did that continue in high school at all?
It did not. As the summer went on, while they were in middle school, you started to see everyone kind of catching up to them. And while they were big guards mentally, physically, they were not big guards anymore.
We were the little guys.
Yeah.
Scrawny,
Yep.
small.
Yep. Needed to put on some weight.
Were y'all nervous about high school at all?
Yes.
I think I was probably more nervous than they were their first game. Seeing the guys that just, you're wondering if all the work that you put in was really going to transfer to the high school game. But it was certainly, I know I was sweating bullets.
I was certainly nervous. I was nervous about their weight, how they would perform. Their high school had a very successful season the prior season.
Yeah, living up to expectations.
And so, were they going to be able and come in and support and get us even further? I was also worried about if their grades, just because I knew that it was a lot of pressure, but definitely very worried, never showed them our worry, but we were worried or nervous.
Yeah, but it worked out.
Yeah, sure did.
So how was it for them balancing school, basketball, and social life?
Wow. I think, we must have did a pretty good job preparing them and the coaches, their AAU coaches, their high school coaches, and parents, and the family that our extended family have helped mold these guys into very good people and not just basketball players. We've always been, grades are always the number one priority for us. So we've always set a high bar when it came to that. But it is difficult to manage the basketball training 2 and 3 times a day, a full day of school, and going to trainers, to traveling, and grades. So sometimes we do have to pay a little extra attention to those grades and find a way to fit in tutoring and some of those other things. But overall, we've been blessed with all of our kids, my daughter as well.
Absolutely. I think just to add to that, as parents, we did our due diligence by making sure we stayed on top of their grades. We checked their grades. We'd have little family meetings where we sit at the dinner table and talk about grades. There were some times, what a lot of people don't know is, they train hard. So with that training, they're going to bed pretty late, but at the same time, they have to balance their grades. So depending on the circumstances, there would be some late nights, staying up till 11 o'clock, just to make sure that they were on top of their grades, and then do it all over again the next day. So I think just building that foundation that you are a student first, that's why it's called student athlete, and just really instilling that in their head.
Was it the same for your daughter?
She was easy.
Yeah.
She was easy.
Yeah.
She stayed on top of her stuff, and it just came natural.
Right. She was an
takes
honor
after me.
student.
She's smart.
She was an honor student the whole time. I'll give him that. Yeah, she's smart. But
You're smart too, though.
Thanks. But she stayed on top of her grades. I mean, she naturally was always disciplined with her grades. We never really had to make her stay up until 11 o'clock to do her homework. She did it on her own, so we were very fortunate with that.
For sure.
Did she go to prom?
She did go to prom. She went to prom her senior year. It was very nice. Also kind of strange to see, the photo shoot, and really her first date night.
Yeah.
I mean, she obviously dated her senior year, but this was the first time we ever, allowed her to stay out late. So that was real different. But it was a beautiful experience for her.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that that was special for her because there was so much of your personal or student life or youth that's kind of, it has to get pushed to the side if you want to be great. To be able to be a athlete at the next level is, you're gonna have to give up a good part of that social life. And we try to do what we could to make the times that they were allowed to just be kids special and try to fit that in. But the reality of it is there's not a whole lot of it if you want to go to school for free.
Right.
And that's what the goal is. And there's a lot of time to play down the road. When you get to college, you'll have a ton of fun once you get there.
I think she's doing that.
Yeah, certainly doing that.
Did any of them work during high school?
No.
No time for it.
Yeah, no time. We're really big on their work is their grades and their sport. So if you have extra time, then you're either studying, and if you're not studying, you're in the gym. It's either or. So no time for work.
Zariah wanted to work.
She did. She asked several times. We told her no. So with telling them that they can't work comes, well, I need, money for this or money for that. So we would make them earn it, by doing little extra chores around the house. So that's how they earned any income that they wanted.
How was summer ball for them?
Summer ball, AAU. We've been with the Future organization for the boys since third grade. Zariah only played AAU with San Antonio's finest. And we were just, those two programs I can't say enough about those two programs. I mean, they're well known, they're well coached, and not just dads coaching their kids. We're talking about real professionals, guys who have done this at a high level. And we've just been blessed to have the opportunity to be part of that and to have that kind of fall upon us. We met Future first, just by happenstance. A friend of mine was like, "Hey man, you need to go check out this gym." And when we walked in that gym, we knew the moment we walked in there.
It was in the summer, right? When we first joined.
Yeah, it was in the middle. We were playing for somebody else, some mom and pop team, guys that were really not taking it that serious. But we walked in there and we knew that this was something special that they had going on in there. And through Future, we met Coach Ray Caldwell, and I can remember, it's a funny story, and I don't know how many times he says this, but the first thing Coach Ray ever said to me when I walked up to him, he had found out from the Future staff that I had a daughter and I wanted her to participate in his program. I walked up to him the first time at one of our tournaments, and I think Cody or Coach D introduced me, and Coach Ray said, I'm 85-0 or something, or whatever the number was. But he was referring to the girls that he's put in colleges that didn't have to pay for it. Those are the first things I was like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm here. So, but yeah, that just really sums it up. Like, these guys are, the staff that they put together, like, these guys are either high school coaches, college coaches, ex-college players, ex-college coaches, and it's really been beneficial to not only us, because at some point I can only teach my kids so much about the game.
When I think about summer or summers, I think about the work that they've put in. Every summer, the goal is to get better. And this was from the twins to our daughter, Zariah. One of the things that stands out to me is because they're in the gym so much, it does take a community to really see that, because not everyone is available to get them to the gym or home from the gym, or the amount of time that they want to spend in the gym. So it's certainly a time that they're focused on getting better, focusing on their crafts, also focusing on their opportunities. What do they need to get better in? And then they're excited. They're excited to play. They're excited to be on the big stage. They're excited to, have that opportunity to be with their teammates, transparently speaking.
And summer is really time that when we communicate to our kids is, we have high school basketball and we're there to go win state. And, we have goals and team goals, but the summer is really about them showing their skills and their growth and putting themselves on a platform. And obviously we want to play the game the right way. We want to win games, but that's the opportunity to play in front of college coaches and to get on somebody's board and try to earn these scholarships. And as you know, with the transfer portal, it's hard to do that as a high school kid coming out of high school nowadays. So even more so, we're not necessarily worried about Division I, we're just worried about a free education. But we use the summer to showcase their abilities and what they've grown, what they've been able to improve on. And that's our main focus in the summertime. And having fun and enjoying to watch and play, but we got a job to do.
Did any of them ever want to quit?
I wouldn't.
I think every 2 days somebody wants.
I don't think they wanted to quit. They wanted to quit hearing Dad.
Quit hearing my mouth.
Yeah. So as far as quitting the game, absolutely not. But there were days where, I don't know, like maybe one walked out on you, or maybe you threw a kid out the gym. Yeah. I mean, not literally, but like get out.
Literally.
But as far as ever wanting to quit, I would say at one point, Zariah was frustrated because she had an injury, and she questioned her ability. But once we reminded her of all the work that she put in and, just stay focused, don't let anything get in your way mentally, I mean, by the end of the summer, she was right back where she wanted to be. So.
Did any of them ever play for a sponsored shoe team?
No.
No.
Not until recently. This will be our first year playing with the Pro 16 circuit with Puma.
Right.
So we're certainly excited about that. But once again, we've been doing it independent up until this point, and that's just, once again, I can sound like a broken record, but the organization that we're with has still been able to put us on center stage, being an independent, and it's a testament to them as well as the boys who put in the work to have an opportunity to play for a shoe team. But this will be our first year, but we're very excited.
Do you think playing on a shoe team would have helped Zariah at all, or no?
I don't think that's necessarily what she needed. I think, me personally, the shoe teams are a little more newer to me, but based on her skill set and where she was at and the way she needed to progress, I don't necessarily know that being on a shoe team is what she needed.
She needed reps with the ball in her hands.
Right.
If you're playing on a shoe team, then you're probably playing with a bunch of girls who are high level. And her, we touched on her being a late bloomer. She needed reps, in-game reps to kind of knock off some rust. So I don't think being on the shoe team, even though SA Finance is a premier organization who is now also part of one of the circuits. I forget which one it is, but maybe you can help me with that.
Or Under Armour.
Under Armour.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, no. So, I don't necessarily think that's what she needs. I think kids need to be on teams where they're going to play. I think this summer, you have a kind of different roles from high school to the summer team. So I think that, you know, kids need to figure out what they need and base who they're playing with in the summer to get the things that they may or may not be getting in the high school time that they're on the court. But yeah.
Do you feel like camps helped your daughter get into college?
What do you think?
I don't think necessarily camps help her. Okay, so it depends on what kind of camp you're talking about. So there were camps that were focused on training and development. So I think, you know, perhaps those kind of camps help her get into college because it was an opportunity to play against talent, whether it was locally or within the state of Texas for us. So I think from that perspective, the camps were effective in that sense. As far as going to one of those camps that they invite you to and you get a random email saying that this camp is, I think we tried that one time and we weren't so, you know, coming from, you know, the two camps that we come from and what we've seen, we didn't think that it was necessarily beneficial.
It's a lot of money grabs out there. It's a lot of camps out there that are just there to take your money. You know, if there was camps that were run by college coaches, or we had a personal invitation to those camps, I think those were beneficial.
They're more effective.
Yeah. Yeah, I certainly think that. But I will touch on this real quick because what I think was most effective with Zariah's recruiting was a lot of, and this was shared to us by someone, I can't remember who it was. Do you remember who shared this? As far as reaching out to the coaches.
I don't remember who shared that, but
Yeah, I can't remember I believe it was, I can't remember. But we spent a lot of time late in Zariah's career. I think, what was this, the end of her junior year or her senior, start of her senior year? We actually started to reach out to coaches in the area that we were kind of interested in her playing with. So we pretty much, because we weren't being highly recruited, so we started reaching out to coaches, put together some film, put together highlights and had links for them to go see the whole games if they wanted to, and we would reach out to those guys and have Zariah introduce herself.
right.
And show her interest to be a part of their program. And I think that played a significant role in Zariah's recruiting.
Absolutely, because she reached out to them early, and so some of those coaches actually watched her through her high school career. And so with the success that she had her senior year, it was effective for her recruiting, and she had several opportunities.
Like 4 or 5 coaches that we reached out to started to attend her games after that. And we probably would have never been on their radar if we didn't do that.
Right.
So we told ourselves we were going to do that a lot earlier in the boys' high school careers.
So how did your family choose a college for Zariah?
She made the decision.
I
I
did
just
not
sat
make the
back.
decision. Zariah made the decision. You know, at that point, that was our second visit. We had a third one scheduled, and visits are exhausting. I mean, they're great. They're great if you have the opportunity, but they're very, I think exhausting is probably the wrong word to use, maybe a little overwhelming, right? Because it's such a big decision to make. And so when we visited Texas Westland, the school that she decided to go to, it was about the connection that she had with the coaches. And if she was going to have an opportunity to play, like, you know, how they made those decisions. So before Zariah would go onto campus, she would write out a list of questions that she asked coaches. So not only were they kind of interviewing her and us, She was also interviewing them.
Yeah, we were interviewing them.
Right. And so with that said, she actually said, I remember the day of the visit, she said that her head coach and her assistant coach reminded her of her AAU organization that both her, the boys, and played on. So that's how she made her decision. She felt really comfortable. It felt like home.
Yeah. Yeah, and a big thing for me is I just wanted to make sure that I was sending my daughter off to individuals who were going to care about her, and care about her as an individual and a student, and not just a basketball player.
Right.
And the conversations that we had with other coaches was like, you knew within the first 5 minutes of talking to them that I'm not really.
Right. It
I
didn't
don't
feel
think
genuine.
this right.
Yeah.
But when you find the ones, when we found the ones, we knew within 5 minutes that this feels right.
Right. Another thing that was really important too that her coaches talked about that was a big deal for us was the amount of time that they spent focused on their grades. So they actually allocated time for them to study as a group, and they did that as freshmen, and then once they were consistent with their grades, then they wouldn't have to do it anymore.
As much.
Yeah.
And if you were not as consistent, you were going to be required to go more.
Right. Yeah. So that was important to us as well.
Were there any surprises for her once she got on campus?
How small her restroom was. No, I mean, she had toured the campus. I don't think we toured a dorm room, so that's why that was a surprise to her. But no, not really. I mean, she was excited to be there. She, as a young woman that likes to spend time in the restroom, she was like, wait, how am I supposed to get ready every day? But we certainly didn't look at it as a surprise. We looked at it as, well, that's how we used to live when we were young. So get used to it.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise that I found out was that the team that she plays for had to share the basketball gym with the ping pong team. And like, this ping pong team is, they're about their business.
They're a national ping.
They're a national ping pong team, and I just couldn't believe that, the girls, and this is girls and boys, would have to share the basketball gym with the ping pong team. That was the biggest surprise. But other than that, we really loved the institution.
Yeah.
And the people and the coaches.
How was her college experience working for her?
Cut.
Her freshman year was great. She played a little bit. She didn't play a lot, but she did get minutes as a freshman. Unfortunately, she broke her tibia the very last game of conference play. However, her team did make it to the national tournament. They were conference champions. They made it to the national tournament all the way.
The NAIA national.
Yes, in the NAIA.
Tournament.
And they made it to the Sweet 16. So although she didn't personally get to play because she was injured, it was a great experience for her. As far as her sophomore year, with as much success that her coaches had, they, I guess, got a promotion to a D2
Another opportunity
school.
to move up.
And so she lost her whole coaching staff her sophomore year. So that was different, right? Because it's a coach that didn't recruit you, different style.
Completely different style.
Different team. I want to say they lost about half of the players. So that has certainly been a transition for her. I can't say, she had her moments where, she would call us upset. However, it was more of frustration of what can she do to put herself in a better situation. So she wanted to be on the court more. So that was more of her frustration. So, we told her what we tell all of our kids: work harder. You know, if you want that time on the court, you got to work for it. Nothing is given. So, with that said, her sophomore year was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and they didn't do too well,
Yeah.
so that didn't help.
Right.
And the coaching style was interesting,
Yeah.
but she worked through it, and she's been a great teammate.
Right.
She's persevered, and she's really focused in on becoming a better player next year.
Absolutely.
So I know you talked about her starting late, so she achieved what a lot of people couldn't. So how did that make you feel?
Proud.
Absolutely. You think about all the hard work that you put into it, the early mornings, the late nights. A lot of people don't really, understand how hard these kids work. And so to be able to accomplish that in such a short period of time it's sweet. It made it every minute worth it. So certainly very proud of her. She deserved it.
Absolutely.
If you could tell the parents of college athletes one thing, what would it be?
That's a great question.
I think for me, the one thing I would tell them is to allow them to have their emotions and, I guess not baby their emotions. Because when they go off to college, they don't have you in their practices. They don't have you every single day. So, allow them to fall a little. Don't always give them the answer while they're in high school. Allow them to kind of think about things so that they learn how to, be a good decision maker for themselves when they're by themselves. That would probably be the biggest thing is, make sure that you're allowing them to have their emotions.
I think that's great. I think I would tell them to enjoy it as much as you can. We spend a lot of our time, our money, it's just, and then we get out there and they're going 50% in the game, or they're going 50% in practice. And you want to choke them when they get into the car, because then they have something smart to say back to you. And we've all been there, and they really don't understand the time, effort, and energy that goes into what we do. So it's easy for us to get wrapped into that as parents and not be able to enjoy it. And then with my daughter, I'm realizing she's about to be a junior in college, and the ball's gonna stop bouncing. So through all the money and all the travel and all the time as a parent, try to find a way to enjoy it. And I'm still working on that.
Your journey shows how much love and dedication you have as parents. Thank you for being a shining example for so many others, and thank you for sharing your journey with us. Stay tuned for the next episode of The Journey.